Good evening. This video is for Compact 8. Tomorrow in class we will start Chapter 11. So I think I said Chapter 4 yesterday. 4 will be in 2 chapters. We're actually starting Chapter 11. We rearranged it. So tomorrow we will start Chapter 11, Systems of Equations. You need a piece of paper and a pencil or something to write with. Write down the title of your notes for tonight for your homework, Systems of Equations. All right, you don't have to write this down. Just listen. I'll tell you when to write stuff. Okay, so Chapter 11 is going to be a review for the most part, but a couple things we're going to make sure that we're solid on before we move on. So profit, income, point of intersection, break-even point, system of linear equations, solution of linear system, and so on. Dependent, independent systems, inconsistent, and substitution method. All right, so you've titled your paper, write number 1. I want you to try to write a system of equations for this problem. The cost to create commemorative homecoming photos are $250 to rent the equipment and $2 per print. And the student council plans to sell homecoming photos for $8 each. So we want an equation to represent a production cost and income. So read it again if you need to and pause it if you have to and try to write an equation. Okay, your equation should look something like this. So you'll have 2 equations where y equals 8x and where y equals 250 plus 2x. So have these 2 equations written down for tomorrow. Okay, graphing is something of 11.1, so go back to those 2 equations that we made, and I want you to graph that. So for number 1 on your paper, you have these 2 equations, graph an image of those 2, sketch what it would look like. All right, 11.2 is not only about the equations, but interpreting the solution. So for number 2 on your notes, you need to read this example, then you need to write these 2 equations and solve. So how much money will each sibling have after 8 weeks? Write a sentence about how much they'll have. So do the math and then say Wes will have this, Bella has this. When you solve for X, what does that mean? This is your number 2 question for homework tonight. All right, number 3 on your homework will be this one. You don't have to do 1 or 2, but if you want to pause and read these 2 so that you can know kind of what's going on, go for that. But number 3. So for number 3, you want to come up with 2 equations, just like they did in the other 2. Come up with 2 equations and then solve. 11.3 and 11.4 are all about solving. So for example, if I wanted to solve number 1 up here, I would have to substitute. So n plus q is 13. Well, I don't want 2 letters, I want 1. So if I subtracted q from both sides, I could say n equals, and you don't have to write this down, you're listening, 13 minus q. This is the same thing as if I said 5 plus 2 equals 7. If I subtract 2 from both sides, subtract, then I could say 5 equals 7 minus 2. So we're just letting n equal 13 minus q. Then you have an n here. So where n is, you'll replace that. So I'd get rid of the n. I'm trying to exit out. You could write 13 minus q and solve, because then you don't have any more n's. Once you solve for q, then you could plug in back up here for q and solve for n. So you would need to do 0.5 times 13 minus 0.5 times q plus 0.25q, combine your q's, and solve just like normal. So give number 3 a try. Try to create the equations and solve for your variables, and let's use what they say, b and a. And then we will go over this tomorrow. Good luck. Have a great night. Thank you.